overheating, fan kicking on so loud
Yeah.
you couldn't hear the
Yeah.
speakers in the background.
Right. Right.
And even this is still, so I'm one of the people who has suffered through various terrible broadband options over the years.
Right.
I'm not one of the more distinguished generation.
Mm.
Um, you know, relatively a young man here, but
Yeah.
I still remember I had dial-up growing up, and
Yeah.
remember when DSL came on, and it just about blew my mind because all of a sudden you could do things online. You couldn't just do nothing. You could actually do things, and that was a big breakthrough. And
Yep.
one of the things we were talking about last time when we had a whole fiber conversation. And unfortunately, we didn't have you on for that because at some point I realized, oh no, I've got 4 speakers. How is this hour going to look? But for all the viewers out there, talking with Michael Anderson here, and he came on and talked, I believe last winter, I think January, talking about
Mm-hmm.
a potential way to bring fiber optic to Nevada County. And the vision you had at that time was, let's do it as a cooperative. Let's do it because
Mm-hmm.
it's very difficult to make a profit running fiber optic way out here in the boonies, you know. And so what we've seen since then is the county did a whole grant process with matching funds, and there's a whole lot more on our video library from last month about that. But the gist of it is, it's not going to get to everyone this year. It's not going to get to everyone next year. It's going to be a process, and
It's going to be a process. That's right.
there's going to be both larger companies like Race Communications bringing it. There's going to be smaller ones like Nevada County Fiber, like the proposed Northern Sierra Fiber Broadband Collective that we talked about with you last time you were on.
Mm-hmm.
And gaps are going to have to be filled. But between now and then, how are people going to get online? A lot of people have been, pretty much everyone's been working from home, school from home, everything. So what we're going to talk about tonight is what's filling those gaps, what service people can get right now, and kind of what those services look like.
Right.
And this is really want to thank Michael for coming on last minute here and helping me fill a knowledge gap, which, you know, I work for the Tech Connection, put on events. I'm an event producer, not so much a broadband solution provider. And that's where Michael's coming in tonight. Now, going to go ahead and share this screen here so we can look at just a bit kind of basic breakdown that Michael provided of what different options there are right now. And some neighborhoods you can get fiber, some you can get Comcast, Xfinity cable. I'm seeing there's a wide range of options, but let's be honest, a lot of the county lives outside of the downtown core. We live down cul-de-sacs. We live off of Highway 49. We live on the hills. So a lot of the options that are available downtown just aren't available for the larger public. So this fantastic graphic that Michael provided really kind of lays out what you can do with what's available. And since this is your excellent handiwork, I'd like to turn it over to you for a moment just to talk about what we're looking at here and kind kind of what the breakdowns mean in terms of what you can do.
Yeah, sure. And so I did a presentation for a regional healthcare collective. They wanted to know in what was available in Nevada County and how could they use it for, in particular, telemedicine. So one thing that I thought was important was to break it down to three pretty simplistic but useful, hopefully, user levels and what you could do with each service. And that's really important because I think people are told they can get a certain kind of service, but then they find out that it doesn't actually meet their needs. And that telemedicine you'll see is a yellow area, is a yellow zone for a lot of services because of a variety of technological drawbacks or things that aren't quite the way they need to be. Let's talk about cellular, for example. The cell towers are very, very impacted right now due to the pandemic. So they are experiencing jitter, which means that there's latency issues, dropouts, and Zoom meetings are very difficult. And telemedicine with your doctor is definitely difficult using the cellular network. And depending on the kind of signal you have, some signals like, let's say, Smarter Broadband and Oasis and Digital Path, those are, if you're close enough to their transmitter and have a good signal, then telemedicine is fine. But a lot of people have to rely on a lesser connection. So that's why that would be in the yellow. And then, of course, for advanced users, people that need to move lots of files, a lot of data up and down, especially the uplink, there's a number of broadband solutions that just don't work. So to your point from the last TechTonic Tuesday, obviously fiber and, in some cases Comcast, but with certain limitations, that's the best solution for all three categories. And, I did this before the Nevada County Fiber had their first connections, but they're up there along with Race Fiber and Comcast, obviously, because they're at the same upload and download speeds. So yeah, this is a matrix for just what kind of user you are, what your requirements are, and then these are the vendors on the left that are available in Nevada County.
Thanks. Yeah, and if we're a little glitchy or dropping out at all, it's because I am on a cellular network. Yep. One of the newer ones that's been coming along that I'm benefiting from is T-Mobile has a home internet option. So there's just unlimited choices out there. And as you can see from this chart, some of them are good and some of them are okay. Mm-hmm. And I think we've really entered the stage where everyone really needs that intermediate speed for life to happen. Just to give a basic example, most preliminary doctor's appointments now are through video conferencing. You're not going down to your doctor for the first consult for anything. They want to see you on Zoom. They want to see you on FaceTime, however they do it. And as you can see, if you have satellite internet, it's just not going to happen. And so we're really leaving a lot of the county behind. One of the things that, we talked about last time extensively was the importance of symmetrical speed. And that means that your upload speed and your download speed is the same. It allows you to be a creator. It levels the playing field. You're no longer just a consumer. And most providers are not going to give you that. So it's less about what's the best internet you can get. And it's more, can you get away with the internet you can get? And if not, there's not a lot of options, when I moved into the house I'm in now, I tried to get digital path. I was unable to. Um,
Mm-hmm.
they were optimistic that a neighbor's house might be able to put a dish in the tree, and then I could then get off of that. So that's really kind of the best way to speed up this process of getting internet into all the neighborhoods. It's, you have to talk to your neighbors. It's no longer just I'm gonna go out into the market and see what I can get. It's okay, what does the neighborhood have? Can we expand the neighborhood's network? You talked about Nevada County Fiber. We had Andrew Wilkinson on earlier last month, and he just did a wonderful thing for my old neighborhood on Banner. I got out of there a little too early, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I had satellite for years up there, and he's literally bringing fiber speed to my old address, I think,
wow.
starting last week.
Little did you know.
Well, so it's the faster service is coming, but people are going to have to be patient. They're going to have to work with their neighbors. Now, when we had you on last winter, you were really talking about the kind of co-op model of, it's not going to make you oodles of money running fiber out in the country. It's why we've got grants that brought Race Communications here. The grant paid for them to go into lower served neighborhoods, paid for their put in point, and they're now expanding into areas that they think they can make a profit in. They're going up into the airport industrial park. They're going into places that's going to be possible. I'd love to hear a little bit more from you, kind of thinking about that cooperative model of how to work with people in bringing internet to your neighborhood, as opposed to just passively waiting for the market to make it happen.
Sure. Well, I encourage people to take a look at the Nevada County Broadband Plan. There's actually a plan that was adopted in September of 2019. And it talks about the various areas in Nevada County and how they're going to be served. And it admits that there's not going to be a single solution, that it's going to be I think the word was used, patchwork of solutions for, as you said, David, this neighborhood is going to do something here and that neighborhood is going to do something there. And, these solutions will be largely driven by community members. That's certainly what Andrew's done. And for people who might not be familiar with a solution out on Newtown Road, the Beckville network tapped into the vast fiber that was put in about 4 years ago. And then they're distributing via fixed wireless. Actually, it's 802.11, so it's a ubiquity solution. But the neighborhood got together, and members of a neighborhood association pooled some money together and invested in some equipment and came up with a solution that's fantastic for them. I mean, they had dying DSL, literally the copper rotting on the poles, and now they have, in the 50 megabits per second range that they can use to actually get their work done. And so those are the kinds of things that communities are deciding to do. Now, as far as the co-op's concerned, we're getting ready to do some more public outreach about that beginning of 2021. We've got about half a dozen projects outlined, and various neighborhoods having to do with fiber. And the thing about, David, you talked about the co-op model and how that works. I think it's important for people to understand a term called open access. And what that is, you can Google it and get lots of information about it. And what that is that the network is transparent at the upper layers, and that various vendors are able to offer their services on top of the transport layer. And in this particular type of open access model, a co-op model or a municipal model is also, it's kind of the same thing. The transport layer is publicly owned. So that means that it's democratically controlled. There's a board, it's a nonprofit corporation. And then the services and the transport, or the ISP on top of that, the data services, the video services, the IoT, all kinds of different things that you might want to put on top of that transport layer, that's open to the market. So that's different than a bundle where, you know, the Comcast model is the best example of that locally, where you basically, you know, you pay a signal price, they have the transport, and then they have the services, they have the operations and maintenance. Everything comes for one price. But you have difficulty, for example, getting a different data plan from a different ISP because Comcast doesn't have an open access network. It's closed. So,
well, and unfortunately, if Comcast thought they could make a buck providing that service to the whole county, they'd be doing so. And that's really where this idea of the cooperative model of neighborhood associations really comes in.
right.
Is you can't wait for the market to fill the gap. We've been waiting for years, and it feels like 2020 really just accelerated that need. And
right. And so what we hope to do with the cooperative model is to offer at that transport layer, you know, the ability to, you know, a neighborhood, let's say, wants to put something in, the co-op can help them, and then maybe help them with billing, helping them with the operations and maintenance if that's something that they don't want to have to handle. But then on top of that, the members of the network are able to get whatever services that they want on top of that.
Very cool. I want to backtrack for a second, talk a little bit more about the Newtown Road project.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they tapped into the fiber network and then are delivering that wirelessly, which I find to be a really elegant solution, because fiber is expensive.
Mm-hmm.
I'm forgetting the numbers, but I remember when you talked about it last winter being a little flabbergasted at how much it was per mile.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really why we can't wait. You know, there's the biggest joke to me of all of this broadband in Nevada County is the main fiber trunk line, or middle mile connector, runs pretty much right through our county. Last month we had a viewer ask about service on Duggins Road, and Steve Monaghan from the county pointed out, actually, Duggins Road is right where the fiber cable is.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got people on that road not able to use it. So hybrid models like that, I think, are going to be really valuable moving forward. Of, you know, you're not having to invest in fiber door to door, which would be ideal. It would allow that symmetrical upload and download speed, but we need service today. And that seems like a really solid way to get there.
Right. Absolutely.
I'm going to pull up the second slide you gave me. And again, many thanks to Michael Anderson for bringing this up, because he did a much better job of collating this data than I did. It's almost like he does this full time. And let's see, here we are. So one of the things that really strikes me looking at this chart is that, you know, the city centers, they're all good. You know, if you're having internet trouble to such an extent now that you're working from home that you just can't make it work. You can't get the fiber going. It is possible to move downtown. I hate to say it, but right now, today, you can do everything you need in the city centers. Um, Race's new project along Highway 174, very excited talking with them last month because they're actually customers signed up, connected to that service. We've been talking fiber for a long time, and that was one of the first times where it's like, oh, wow, there's people with symmetrical speed today. They might even have been watching that piece. Now, one thing I want to kind of narrow in on is this AT&T DSL. We had some questions about that last month, and we kind of skimmed over them. Legacy only. This is a very crucial sentence there that I'd like to let you elaborate a little bit on, because that's the crucial thing about DSL right now.
Right. And, a lot of people in this county are extremely dependent on DSL. It's the service that's allowing, thousands of people in the county work from home and do telemedicine and distance learning for the kids that are not able to go to school. Unfortunately, the DSL has been degrading for quite some time. There are issues with the copper on the poles, squirrels and rainwater and what have you. And it takes a long time often to get that serviced. Though recently it's been getting better. I think maybe it's because there's less DSL connections to service because they've been pulling those back. But what it means, the legacy part of it is that if you lose the service for whatever reason, let's say you sell your house and turn off the telephone service, which had DSL attached to it, the new owner isn't able to get on the DSL. The DSL is locked out of that location from there on. And there are some areas where AT&T is actually pulling out the remote terminals and just leaving everybody kind of high and dry that used to have DSL, which is very unfortunate. So, if you have DSL and you're dependent on it, guard it with your life, because it's easy to lose it if you don't pay your bill for a while and they shut it down. Once it's shut down, it's not coming back. So, those are the areas that we really need to address as a community to get those people some kind of service so they can leave the DSL, because eventually it will just go away completely.
Yeah, I mean that's how I wound up with satellite when I lived up on Banner. Check out the house. We're doing the walkthrough. They point to the AT&T DSL modem. Oh yeah, you've got DSL up here.
Right.
Call them up a week later. Oh no, we're not doing that anymore. So if you're a renter, if you're a tenant or a homeowner who's looking to rent their house with DSL, don't cancel that service. Just leave it on and work something out, because it's pretty much as good as gold right now if you still have that. It's not great service. As the previous slide showed, it has real speed issues. As Michael just mentioned, it's got dependability issues. Squirrels are a bigger problem in Nevada County than you'd think. I had some living in my house for a number of years, and it's a more real problem than you might think.
They love to make nests in the boxes that are up on the poles where the pairs are spliced together when they're doing putting new service to certain areas, and they're putting the pairs together. Those areas, those boxes, you'll see them up on the line. Those are great way to collect water and squirrel nests. So sometimes you'll see them covered with rubber bags. They'll keep the water out. It's a lot of work to replace one of those. So if they can keep the water out that way, they'll do it. But yeah, the Association of Realtors is very aware of this situation, and they work with the realtors in Nevada County to ensure that if there's a transfer of ownership, that if there's a DSL service with that property, that they leave it in the name of the previous owner, so that the new owner can use it.
Really glad to hear that that's starting to be on people's radar, because really could have used that nice little trick a couple of years back. Anyway, this month TechTonic is really just kind of, we wanted to follow up and answer some of these questions, particularly around DSL, particularly around, is there a countywide plan to bring low latency internet? And unfortunately right now there's not. The county has really stepped up as far as providing grants, trying to make it possible for neighborhood associations like up on Banner to do this. But really, it's up to everyone out there watching. If you want better internet, you're going to have to kind of pretty much take it into your own hands and find some way to bring service. And whether that's tapping into the broader fiber network and doing wireless like Newtown did, whether it's doing what Nevada County Fiber did on Banner and running the fiber all the way up. Don't wait, take action. Think about how you can make this happen. Keep an eye out for opportunities to get involved with cooperatives like Michael is working with. Talk to your neighbors, find out what they have. Just because you can't get digital path, maybe your neighbor has it. Maybe they're willing to be a repeater. Smarter broadband, same deal. The fixed wireless options are really, I think, going to be important to fill that gap. And that's pretty much the thought I want to leave everyone with is you got to take action. Don't wait patiently. No one's going to bring internet to you if you don't ask for it and if you don't work for it. And I really want to thank Michael Anderson for jumping on here last minute and helping flesh out what was going to be just a basic question and answer section with some real good knowledge, really appreciated slides. And we'll make sure to share all of this in text form as well for everyone who absorbs information better that way. Yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in. Any last thoughts, Michael?
I would just reiterate what you said. Take the initiative and come up with solutions. There's a lot of local folks that are working to solve this. The Smarter Broadband, Oasis, Nevada County Fiber, Race now. Just make the outreach and talk to folks, get to know what's going on in the neighborhoods. Like David said, get to know your neighbors. And the solutions are there. It takes some work to get it done, but we have to solve this problem both for the short term and the long term. And the short term is going to be a lot of wireless. The long term is every premise needs a fiber to the premise. That's key to our economic security. So we'll get there.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thanks so much, Michael. This was a nice follow-up on the fiber. And since we missed you last month, good to catch up on this very crucial topic. Thanks everyone for watching.
See you. Yep.
And go ahead and